Hey, welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. So, we're going to be discussing failure as a software developer, specifically, in this case, for you guys starting out. So, when it comes to failure, let me define it for you. I think that failure for software developers out there comes in two flavors. The first one is the one that we're going to be discussing in this video, and that is making you discouraged enough to quit the tech entirely. Not just the tech stack, not just going from React or Angular to Blazor or something, but just quitting being a technical person entirely. So I don't consider failing going from being a web app developer to a cybersecurity professional or an architect. That's not quitting at all. That's just finding a different, you're finding your own space within the technical sphere. What I consider quitting is just leaving the technical sphere entirely. Now, sometimes there are valid reasons. Sometimes you do find something else that's not technical related and you want to do that. That's all well and good. But I'm saying a true failure when it comes to leaving the technical sphere is that you get discouraged from it and then you quit. And then you spent whatever time you had either in college or in your boot camp or your course, whatever it is, doing something that you inevitably was going to quit in. You spent all that time getting up to this point that you decided to quit, and that I do consider a failure. The other flavor of failure is if you are a developer but you can't seem to proceed up in the world. So if you can't go from entry level to mid level and make the mid level pay, I don't consider that a success. I consider that a failure. Mid level to senior level, even though you might have the experience but you still can't get that pay, I do consider that a failure. So we're not going to be discussing the second one today. Today is just going to be the first. So what this video is going to cover are the things that other videos usually don't cover. So the pressures that you will feel as an entry-level developer is what I'm going to be discussing today. I'm not going to be going over the interview or what you're going to expect in the workplace. I think those things are covered by a lot of other videos, and I have gone over the interviewing process and resume and stuff like that in my other videos that I have. But in this case, I'm going to be discussing some other pressures and adversity that you're going to feel and you're going to face 100% of the time. That usually isn't discussed. So let's get started with the competition. So the first stress you're going to obviously encounter is trying to get their first job. So you're going to experience a lot of competition, especially for entry-level positions. And the reason for that is because entry-level positions require the corporation to devote resources to you, and most corporations understand that's how that works. That when they're getting an entry-level person, they're getting someone without that much experience, and that they need to have devote maybe a senior level developer's time to helping that person out, and they don't expect you to contribute as much to the team. They expect you to contribute. They expect you to learn from them. They expect you to, at some point, be competent enough to start doing stuff. But in the beginning, it is going to be them trying to get you up to speed. And the jobs that do that, they're not that many, especially the ones that pay decent enough. So obviously, those are the ones that you want to go for, and those are the ones that are going to have the most candidates. And trying to find and break into that first job, trying to find that first entry-level job is going to be the first obstacle that you're going to encounter that might make you want to quit. It might take 30 times, 100 times before you actually get that entry-level opportunity. And when I consider a good entry-level opportunity is one that does pay you for your time. The ones that are free or that are volunteer or internships that are free, those are not usually worth it, and I don't recommend doing them. Because even though your time might not be worth as much as a mid-level person or a senior, your time is worth something and you should be getting paid for that. Ultimately, your worth is how much you get paid, right? So you can't negotiate zero pay with somebody once you have the experience needed. You need a baseline somewhere before you start getting more and more money. That's just how I feel about it. The next thing that you will encounter as something that's going to make you want to quit the software development space is going to be the corporate environment itself. So a lot of you out there probably have worked in a corporate environment before you got into being a software developer, either as a part-time employee or maybe you were a different career entirely. But the corporate environment, for those of you who don't know it, don't have a frame of reference, can be very cutthroat. It can be a crapshoot when it comes to you specifically, because you might go for an entry-level position that, the corporation understands that what they're getting is a person who's trying to learn the new skills and takes time and will have patience and will be able to mentor them reasonably and will have a very positive environment for you. But other times you have a corporation that has a very negative environment, that what they're trying to do is get a developer that's a mid-level developer but have them work for entry-level pay. There's a lot of these jobs that are terrible. In fact, if you go on Joshua Fluke's channel, and I'm subscribed to that guy, the guy's cool. He does have a few videos on jobs that are just not worth getting, because it's like they want 10 years of experience for a $40,000 a year job for a developer or something. Like, that's ridiculous. And sometimes they might get an entry-level position that's actually a mid-level developer's position, but they expect you to be paid as an entry-level. So when you go into it as an entry-level, and then they see that you can only really do entry-level work, and then you get fired, and it's pressure, and it's toxic, and it's just really bad. And it might discourage you from working in the corporate environment ever again. But I promise you that there are corporations out there, there are businesses out there that do not treat people this way, and all you have to do is just find them. Glassdoor is a good way of trying to better your chances of finding those businesses and avoiding the really bad ones. The last thing is going to be the imposter syndrome. The imposter syndrome is going to be very, very strong, especially when you start out. You're going to feel like you don't belong to the team, or that you're dragging the team down, or that everyone's doing much more work than you are because, you don't know, because you just started. That's natural. And over time, the more experience you get, the more money you get paid, the more jobs you can maneuver around, you'll feel less and less like an imposter. In the beginning, it's very, very easy to succumb to it because you don't know anything. You don't know the product they're doing, so obviously you're going to contribute the least. But eventually you will get better. And if the imposter syndrome is really strong with you, then the most important thing you can do is improve yourself. You already, by the time that you start feeling this way, you already have an idea of what the tech stack is going to be in your job. So all you have to do is do more research on it on your own. This goes into another problem that you're going to encounter, is the pressure to learn that tech stack as best you can. What I say to that is, if you're in a good corporate environment, they'll understand that they need patience with you, and learning an entire tech stack is not easy and it will take a lot of time. So you must have patience with yourself, but you must also strive to be better. So if you already know what is the tech stack, then you can go out of your way on your own time to learn it. So if you have that 3-tier architecture like I described before, then learn what the technologies are and how they all relate together. The more you do this, the less likely you're going to bumble at work, and the more likely you're going to contribute to it meaningfully. You're going to contribute to it meaningfully. I had a little bubble there. Which is the root of your imposter syndrome, is that you're not meaningfully contributing to work, therefore I don't need to be here. I'm not saying to work outside the hours that are approved for you, or work outside whatever it is that you got paid to do. I'm saying to learn the technology stack on your own terms, on your own time. And that will help you improve yourself and, hopefully diminish the imposter syndrome feeling. And also understand that you will not learn everything right away, and that you need patience with yourself too. Make sure that you pace yourself when you do this so that you don't burn yourself out. No one wants that. And eventually, you will get better. And all you need to do is make sure you last 2 years. 2 years of doing your software development career, and then you'll be fine. After those 2 years, you'll be more than likely to be a permanent developer, and you can finally navigate your way through other contracts or other jobs or whatever it is that you're going to do. And that's all you really want. Honestly, development is not easy. I'm not going to lie to you and say it is. But it is also not rocket science. It's also not the hardest thing on the planet. And all it takes is tenacity and patience to get to the point where you start seeing your success, and you start letting that success feed you and letting you improve yourself to go forward in your career. So as long as you remain tenacious for this portion, what I consider the hardest portion of your career, you'll be fine. More than likely, you'll be okay. And that's really it. That's all I gotta say. Ultimately, there are going to be many reasons why you're going to quit, and you're going to be very stressed out when you're going through the process, especially when you're in the entry-level position that I assume you are if you're watching this video. But it will get better and it will get easier. And when you go look back and you start seeing that you have successful moments, that you have done things correctly, and that you can get the next position that's coming right up, you'll feel a lot better about yourself. And you will realize that the notion of quitting was just temporary, and you will be just fine. Trust me. I was there before. I have been through my own failures and hardships, and I think I've done pretty well for myself. And you can do it too. So that's what I gotta say for that. I wish you all luck, and hopefully just be as tenacious as you can be, learn as much as you can, and whatever I am, out. Bye.